I want to quickly tell you guys something that may serve you or may not serve you. Okay. I know a lot of people do a lot of work around the moon, the new moon, and the full moon. But as I have said, you have to look into your Saturn, where it's placed in your chart, and study it. Let me turn that sucker inside out. And then also your 12th house placements. 8th house too if you have them, but those two, Saturn and 12th house. Because your 12th house is like your blind spot, and Saturn is always coming to stir some stuff up, okay? So you want to do that. But if you are working the moon, you, in addition, especially if you have a serious Saturn placement, you have to be doing release work on that full moon. I'm not saying that releasing is the only way to work the full moon, but I'm saying it's the best time to release some stuff. And Saturn's lessons can be jarring, okay? Jarring. And so you're going to want to release the trauma from it as fast as you can every single month. So what are some good ways to do that? When you comb your hair and you have some caught in a brush, like collect it, put that in your releasing process. And I think the best way to work with the full moon, even though it's definitely a water energy, right? But I think the best way to release during that time is fire. And then water's going to sweep it right on out, if you understand what I'm saying. And it depends on then where the moon is at and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just saying to you, do some releasing work. Write out things you need to let go of. If you find out stuff during that moon cycle between the full moon to the next full moon that you need, that really hurts you and you need to let go of, write that sucker down. Put that in your releasing process during the full moon. Now, I say during the full moon, I mean during its energy. Because I don't mean when it comes right now. That's when if there's any good stuff that's around, it's going to come through right then. But as it starts to wane, you want to do your releasing. This is something I'm feeling. Okay? So this is for my Bathing in Herbs crew, specifically at YouTube, Instagram, and also over in the private group at Bathing in Herbs. Okay? I am telling you this because it's okay there's a lot that we've been going through right now during these last 24 months. Getting ready to go into even more. Okay? There's a lot that we've been going through. A whole lot. And it's sometimes good to slough off that energy. So releasing might look like a good bath, like a good dry brush scrub, right? And then a good spiritual bath that's releasing and purifying. So remember, I've mentioned here before herbs like lavender and cedar. You can literally get the lavender buds and get the cedarwood chips, and you can pour hot water over them and let them release and flower into your water, and then take that and let that go down your body to release stuff. Okay? I would strain it, or you could just use the essential oils, but I like the herbs. I think the herbs are a little bit better. Then, pardon me, that dry brush, you could also even take something to help make sure that your bowels are moving very quickly and freely during that time. Like Mago 7 is really good. That's sold at Amazon. It's like $27 a bottle, I think. They might have a cheaper one, but that's about the one I get. Then you can obviously do the releasing ceremony with the writing down of whatever it is that you need to let go of, and forgive people for what you need to forgive them for, right? Like, let it go. Don't hold on to it. I'm not saying pick up the phone and call people and go, I forgive you, because I'm not saying that, because sometimes that can trigger a whole nother thing. But let things go. Write it down. Like, I'm not holding on to that no more. If, just let it go. Okay? And then, finally, really put yourself on a path where what you are doing is you are setting your intention to maybe let go of some very big bills by paying them off, right? I'm not going to tell you to do burning or whatever around that, because I think that is very specific work according to the person. There's a lot involved with it, and it depends on who is doing the work, when they're doing the work, what it's around, okay? Because I want you to be releasing emotional things that can get in the way of your success, okay? Then, for that new moon, it's time to start that self-love process, okay? It's time to start that self-love process. Tonight into tomorrow, when the new moon is coming in, and a few days afterwards, okay? I like to do 4 days on either side of it to be dead up, but it's really strong right now coming into it, and then shortly afterwards. You understand what I mean? I have followed a lot of different projects or recommendations when it comes to people who consider themselves to be quote-unquote gurus when it comes to moon work. And I have found that for me, as a person who is ruled by the moon, most of it doesn't work. I think for other people, it may work, but I had to figure out that the best way for me to work with the moon, and this is just me, right? You go off and do what you need to do. But as a recommendation, there is just something freeing where I'm letting go of emotional baggage after that full moon, and it's just going out with it. And I'm gonna tell you, I don't hold on to it, right? That forgiveness is real, okay? It helps me with a few other things, but there's stuff that I would do in like a one-on-one coaching with somebody or a private class, okay? When I say a private class, no more than 30 people or something like that, and I would really explain what it is that I do around that, because there's so much that you can do with the moon to really help to benefit your life. But you want to recognize that you have an invested interest in really finding out how it works for you. Okay, so for some people, they set intentions on both the new moon and the full moon. A lot of people do new moon set intentions, full moon releasing. Like, it just depends. Like, everybody has different things that they do. I have to be very honest. I'm setting intentions all the time. And when I say that, I mean that my spiritual process is important to me all days of the month, not just on the new and the full moon. I just do have specific things that I do around that full moon that are extremely important to me. I say this to say, if you're a person like me, you may not like vision boards, because they can be like dialing your own phone number and getting a busy signal, like reminding you over and over again, it's not working, it hasn't happened yet, right? But if you set a vision board and you put it away for a while and then come back to it, you will see that you have knocked a lot of stuff off that list. That's the way that I work with vision boards. So I began to understand that the moon is like that for me, because it is such a big part of my personality. It's a big part. I mean, the moon is everybody's personality. You got the moon sitting somewhere in your chart. But in some cases, the moon is helping to really rule your life. And I would say, obviously, if you're a Cancer sun, it really plays out for you big time. But also, if you're a Cancer rising, it plays out for you big time. And if you're a Cancer moon, honey, it plays out for you big time. If you have a stellium in Cancer, it's really playing out for you. Like the moon is there in your life. Okay, so I want you, and also then it's sister sign, which I forget which one is the sister sign of Cancer, because I'm not a sun sign of Cancer, so I don't really pay it that much mind. But it's a big impact in my chart. And so my point to you is that in figuring it out, I began to understand that I'm a very intentional person, period. You know, I've always got goals in my mind that I am actually working on, and will get frustrated trying to get stuff completed. But then once it is completed, it is done and dusted, honey. Knock that off the list, and I'm happy about that. So I'm saying this to you all to just say, sometimes this spiritual thing is like you got to investigate. You got to be a little private eye about trying to figure out how your life works. And I thought I would share that tip with you. Again, releasing is extremely important, especially to people who are ruled by the moon. I have recently heard something along the lines of whatever your rising sign is, the ruling sign of that actual sign is the ruling sign of your life, is a ruling planet of your life. I don't know that I necessarily agree with that. I agree with it to a degree, but I think it has a lot to deal with the people that are in your life too. Like my rising sign is extremely important for me, but it's also the sun sign of my father, my daughter, my grandmother. Like this energy is all around me, and me and my mother hold the same rising sign, and so do me and one of my granddaughters. So it's so big, the energy is always around me, that I would not have put it based on my rising sign. I was putting it based on this energy is just huge in my life, and I understand it. I have an understanding of it that's just very different from me as a person than I think other people do. And I think that you will find that if you look in your life, if your rising sign is being mirrored back to you in all those relationships, there's something there. There's some type of lesson to be learned there. And so the moon ruling the tides of life for everybody on this planet is just so huge when it comes to things. And so why not release during that time, right? But to have literally all those signs running in my life, and my moon is not that actual rising sign, but it is definitely a very, very powerful moon. So I just really watch that planet. I see what it's doing. I check and see what's going on, but it's not as big of an influence on my life as Saturn is. Saturn, Uranus, and that 12th house. Okay? It depends on what's aspecting Saturn as it's moving through your chart throughout the current year, not when you were born. So you need to find a good free astrologer that's going to give a forecast as to what this planet is doing for the month. I can't recommend anybody, unfortunately. I used to be able to recommend someone, but man, Saturn could have been doing this boogie on the 1st and the 2nd, and she don't have her forecast up till the 10th. So I can't recommend her anymore, and I used to always recommend her. But I'm going to say to you again, if you can find someone that really does that type of work, and study where Saturn's going to be at maybe the year ahead of time for yourself, and start to look and see what those aspects are, that would be so important. Also, find someone who does that type of work. There are a lot of people who are so interested in astrology and interested in what the stars are saying across the skies when we were born and also throughout our lives, and they really research this stuff. Okay, I'm very close to somebody that's like this, and we'll just they'll be off on a bender. Okay, can't really audibly talk because they busy researching. Okay, it's like I gotta do it. So I'm saying that to you to say, study Saturn in the 12th house And do releasing work during that full moon, especially if the moon really plays big in your life. Okay? And I don't mean it doesn't have to be the ruling planet of your life. But it could be like that your moon, let's say your moon is Sagittarius. And let's say your daddy is a Sagittarius sun. Your mama got a rising Sagittarius. Your brother is a Sagittarius. You are a Leo. And your best friend is a Sagittarius. And your grandmama is a Sagittarius. It's like everybody's birthdays between November and December. Except for you. There's something big going on there for you. So your planet is probably Jupiter. But if your moon is sitting there, you want to run that moon right through that process. You want to look and go, what's the moon doing in relation to Jupiter? What's the moon doing in relation to wherever your moon is at in the houses? That type of thing, right? And then you want to remember that the moon rules Cancer too. So what does the moon have to do with you, with Cancer, with that family thing? And you understand what I mean? It's like plug it into your life and look and see what's going on. Okay? So I hope everybody's having a good day. I'm so sorry I did not get to do as much work today as I wanted to because editing. Ugh. Have a good day, everyone. Peace.